And this is once again Electric. So we saw him playing on the NA server a moment ago. Now he's, I don't know if this is on the EU or whatnot. At the moment, you try to avoid caps like Sion North and some others because your detection is so high. If only one enemy destroyer, don't care much about with multiple destroyers. You feel a bit restricted where to go. Same captain. I was just going to ask you that question. So you're grinding up the line. You don't have the range upgrade. Now, I like to highlight this for a second. The range upgrade increases your range. I know that sounds crazy, right? This gives you 1 extra kilometer of range, but what it also does is it gives you 1 extra kilometer of gun bloom. So keep in mind, what a lot of people like to do with destroyers that are meant to assassinate other destroyers is purposely not buy the range upgrade because that keeps their gun bloom down. So when they get into a 1v1 fight or whatnot, they kill something, then they're able to go stealth again quicker and easier than if they had that extra gun range. Also, it saves them some credits and some XP when moving on to Kleber because you only need to go through the hull line. Mogador's surface detect is too high to assassinate reliably. Well, yes and no. The reason I say it like that, SAT, is because especially in ranked battles and random battles, in my opinion, most of the time what you do is you face first crash into an enemy destroyer, and even if you've got, in this case, 7.5 concealment, and you're up against something like a Shimakaze with 5.7, if you're both heading straight at each other, you're probably going to crash into them and spot them, right? But reliably is a good qualifier there. Okay, so let's take a look at your build beyond that. Mogador, by the way, a great choice in ranked. It's got the ability to use main battery reload booster. It's got engine boost. It's got French saturation, which means that the ship basically gets saturated easier and therefore loses less HP to HE shells, to high explosive shells. Essentially, it allows it to survive longer. And hello, I can't swim. How are you today? Happy Friday. So let's see. You've got main armaments mod 1, engine boost. Absolutely yes, by the way. Main battery modification 2. We'll come back to that in a moment. Propulsion, concealment, and main battery mod 3, which, let's see, this is tier 9, so you're playing probably in silver league. All right, main battery mod 2. Now, this is a good mod if you find yourself constantly getting into like gunfights with other destroyers and you're surprised. Mucho good. Awesome. Now, if, and we know the captain you're running because we saw this earlier, right? We know that it's an honore. If you get to radio location, you don't need main battery mod as much because main battery mod with radio location, you know where to point the guns. Until that point, though, I like the idea of going main battery mod. Once you have radio location, you can afford to trade that up for aiming systems so that you become even more of a pain in the butt to deal with. So we already talked about this on the last video. You're planning on going for these 3 skills last, right? So you've got Adrenaline Rush with Honore. That's a boosted Adrenaline Rush, which is very sexy. Radio location helps you know where enemies are so that if you do have to face charge something, you know how to do it, you know how to point your guns and all that good stuff. And then finally, Fearless Brawler. You don't have smoke, so to have minus 10% main battery line is almost a given for French destroyers. Oh my god, no flags! There's your moment. You can detonate, whatever. It's a ranked battle, it's silver. Honestly, this is your NA account, this is not your main account, and even then, honestly, who the heck cares at this point? It really doesn't matter. Sure, you could detonate, sure that screws over your teammates, sure that could mean that you lose the game, but at the same time, if you're grinding up ships, you're probably credit starved, and whatever. So, I look at rank these days as not as important when it comes to spending stuff. I will go try hard flags for me, but that's a little bit of a different story because I have all the stuff in the world to play with. All right, let's get into your game. So this is a Mogador.
So, Zeth, I'm going to talk about the Mogador for a moment.
Go ahead.
Fantastic boat. Probably, I would say it's tied with Kitakaze as being the best destroyer at tier 9. It is immensely fast,
Yep.
tons of firepower. With the main battery reload booster, the burst damage is, of course, hilarious.
Yep.
Superb ballistics on its 139mm guns. Obviously, one of the signature traits of the French destroyer lines are these long-ranged, very efficient, high explosive spam, guns.
Time out for a sec.
And it also has,
Time out for a sec. I don't like that you're turning away from C. You should be going to C. You don't necessarily have to use your engine boost, but you should be going to C. The sooner you cap C, the better, because you need to get that cap point gain sooner than the enemy gets their cap point gain. So I'd really like to see you go to C here as an initial movement, and once you've capped C, then move away. Okay, go ahead, Shockwave.
Yeah, no, actually, I would agree with that move. Absolutely. Mogador is also basically the fastest destroyer at tier 9, safe with Paolo Emilio, because it goes about 54 with an engine boost and flag. So in that case, I would just cap and then go wide.
Yep.
Just cap and go wide. Don't let the Jaeger and Z46 will cap, which is fine, but I would not have gone with the assumption that they would have capped, as you see the Jaeger's doing some weird, Z46 is doing something weird.
Yeah. Now, there's no communication so far. The battleships with you are just whatever. Did not want Jaeger to go wide, so he went wide first. Here's the thing. Electric, since there's no communication, there's nothing that says that the Jaeger won't just be like, oh, you're going that way? Here, let me follow you. Nothing that says that won't happen. So, to me, get in the cap Shinji, then go out wide, is, in my opinion, the better way to do it. And I agree, SAT is absolutely right. You also get cap XP, which helps you save your star, if it comes to that. So, who's winning on points? You are, because your 2 destroyers went in and they were a little late. But you see that right there. And it does give the enemy destroyer some time to go farther south. So, by the time you get this cap and you curl out, you would be at, like, say, this position here instead of where you are. You're about a grid square farther back, which allows the enemy destroyer to get a grid square deeper before they get detected and possibly shot at by you. That's farther away from the Georgia. That's farther away from maybe the Riga, maybe another destroyer. So what that does is that further isolates the enemy destroyer when you find them. On this map is rush A, you'll get the edge of that island before. That's the other thing too. I agree with you there. Go to the cap, grab it, boost to A. And you'll beat it. If you look at the enemy team, there's no fast destroyer, you'll beat them to it. Anyway, you went this way, so we're gonna continue speaking from this perspective.
So, what I also don't like here is the fact that you're playing this super aggressively. Your concealment is 7.5. This is not something stealthy, right? And, there's the Riga. So, at this point, you start turning away.
Yep.
I like the fact that you are turning away immediately. You see the Riga and recognize that as an immediate radar threat. You're turning away from that, trying to get out of his range.
Yep. So,
but this could have very easily been avoided had you played a little bit more, had you actually gone to C and then taken a bit of a shallower line to get out wide.
Yeah,
you still would have spotted the Georgia. Yeah.
You'd be
still would
about
have spotted the Georgia. You might have spotted the Riga as well, and you wouldn't be under any threat of being radared immediately, right?
All right.
Because you've taken this.
Go ahead.
No, because he's taken this kind of very aggressive line, you've put yourself at spotting risk, which is what I don't like.
So you could be radared by the Riga. Honestly, I'm surprised he just hasn't radared because he's spotted, and most radar cruisers are like, I'm spotted. Let's find out who's spotting me, and push the button, and magically you're spotted. So you're very fortunate that didn't happen. You're also, frankly, very fortunate that you haven't been detected here. So no destroyer has gone here, which honestly for you is huge because that means you have the freedom to go assassinate the Georgia. Now, Electric asked a very important question. If I go A, what then? And that's a very important question that a lot of people who play ranked, frankly, don't have an answer to. So, all right, let's say you go to C and then you boost to A. What you do is you want to get to this corner of A. Okay? You want to get to that corner, that southern corner of A, pointing away. Yes, your engine boost is on at this point still. That's okay. But you hang out there, you get the cap. The reason you go to that corner of A is because you're farther away from enemy destroyers. I don't know that you have the ability to get to this corner in time. SAT, Hoojam, anybody else who plays the Mogador a ton in ranked, you can tell me. But I'm concerned that if you stop in C and then you boost to A, by the time you're at this point here, enemy destroyer should be about here. And that's about spotting range. Now, you could go in, and if you get spotted, just keep going straight. And then that island exists, and you get the cap, and they can try to shoot you, radar you, follow you, but you're going to get the cap either way. So maybe that's the better play than going to the south here, now that I think about it. Frankly, either one of those is fine. If you speed boost into A, you could make it against slow destroyers. Right, against slow destroyers. It's very dependent on what the enemy has. Very dependent on what the enemy has. A Fletcher, for example, I mean, what are they using? They're either using engine boost or they're using defensive anti-air fire. Let's be real, this is ranked, they're using defensive anti-air fire. If they've got engine boost, there's a possibility they'll get to that point in time. Jutland probably won't get there in time. It doesn't have engine boost. Yugumo has engine boost. It could get to that point. But I mean, you're expecting them to go into the cap and then just keep going straight through.
Yeah.
You might take
the
some
other
damage.
expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other expectation is that they're going to take a very aggressive line going to A, because if I'm in a destroyer, I'm taking a wider line to avoid getting instantly detected, because I want to try and get an understanding of where the enemy destroyer is first. If I face charge in, and I get spotted, I'm stuck. I'm in trouble.
You're talking about the perspective of the enemy destroyer.
Yes.
So
this is just assuming that they're taking an aggressive line.
I agree.
If they're taking an aggressive line and you're taking an aggressive line, the advantage is going to go to the enemy destroyer because they will have a very large concealment advantage over you. Your concealment is 7.5. The average concealment of the enemy destroyers on the enemy team, is 5.7, 5.8 roughly. So there's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
To consider.
So the Yugumo's got the best, of course, in this particular game, and it's also got engine boost. So I would expect the Yugumo to play up here so that he can torpedo at A. That's what most destroyer players like to do, is they like to torpedo into A at the start. So one nice thing about you going, I've been drawing a lot, so let me clear the canvas. So one nice thing about you going to this spot in A here is that there's no torpedo threat. And honestly, you're going to get here fast enough to where those torpedoes, even if they're fired at maximum range, aren't going to be on you in time. So yeah, I would say Electric, I would go to C, get in the cap Shinji, grab the cap, boost out whenever you can time it right, and get through, get to the safe spot here, and dare the enemy to come after you. If they come after you, you torp them here through the channel and laugh, frankly. If they don't come after you, you come out, go north, get in the backfield, and just harass the hell out of the Iowa, Riga, whatever. You love going there in brawls, you can keep the A cap, but in ranked, you just can't stay there. Like, no, you're not supposed to stay there. Once you get the cap, the only time you stay here is if it gets contested right away. If it's contested right away, there's a destroyer in the cap, and then you're thinking about what can I do to flush them out and finest it. Yeah, seriously, the long way around. You're in a Mogador. You're in a very fast destroyer. Get in the backfield. Screw this Iowa up. Just mess up with this Iowa. What's that going to do? He's going to QQ and cry. It's going to aggro the destroyers in the middle to come up and deal with you, etc., etc., etc. Yes, it takes you out of the battle for a little bit of time. But if the enemy destroyer does not go into the A cap, that's all points you're getting for free. Right. I would say you guard the Thunderdome if this is being contested. If it's not, if the enemy destroyers are too chicken to come after you, go north. If you run into a destroyer, you're going to run into them here. You're going to 1v1 them and win. Against a Yugumo, a Fletcher, a Jutland, you're going to crash into them coming around this corner, exiting the Thunderdome, if they go for the safe way to get into it. You'll just demolish them. GG easy. So that's how I would consider myself playing this ship mind you, I would also play Tashkent the same way. I'd go into the Thunderdome, although I can't get there as quickly. You can farm from the Thunderdome. That is true. That is true. You could also just sit here and farm over at stuff. But now you're highly dependent on this Iowa being like, I'm a big dumb battleship. I'm going to sail to about here so I can get farm. If he doesn't, then you're sitting there with nothing to do. That's the problem I have with sitting in this point. And that's why I would only sit in this point if A gets contested. Okay, if it gets highlighted afterwards. Anyway. That's a side note because you went a different way. Yeah. So let's see how you go. You're going to torp the Georgia, which is fine because the Georgia is letting you torp him because he curls into this island while spotted. So, have fun. Don't shoot. I do not like that you switched back to guns here. I do not like that you switched back to guns. If he's got priority target, you just told him you fire torps at him.
That's a cardinal mistake right there. Never, ever switch back to your guns. If you are going to switch back to your guns, switch to another target and then switch back to your guns. Do not ever alert a battleship, if you're in a destroyer, that you have just torpedo, because, battleship players are battleship players. So if priority target goes off, they're going to stop immediately.
So what
they
you
will
do,
know that something's told them.
You do is you hit the X key to break the target lock. You go look at the Riga or look at the Iowa, let it target them with the X key again, and then you switch to your guns. Okay, that's what he's talking about. In this case, it doesn't matter so much because you just got radared anyway. So the Riga woke up and is now doing his thing. The question is, what's the Georgia going to do now that he knows that you were there? He's probably not thinking that you're going to torpedo him because you're a French destroyer. You're known for guns, not torpedoes. He's completely disrespecting your threat, and he just took torpedoes because of that. Start counting. 2 floods, that's an insta DCP. You know he's going to do it. Count to 20 seconds. Why 20?
Because American Damage Control Party is, in fact, 20 seconds long.
Correct. Now, he could have the module, so if you're really worried about it, you can, count to 24. But frankly, count to 20. And then by that point in time, by the time your floatier shells hit that range, you're fine. I don't like that you're curling in like this and getting closer to him. You just got yourself detected for no good reason.
No, why? It's a Georgia. That thing has pretty good secondaries. It's ranked. He has it built for secondaries.
And you're closer. You're making it easier for secondaries to hit you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If I were in your situation, I would have turned away and just started gunning him at a distance of 10 to 11 kilometers, not this close. Because now the Georgia's looking at you. He's going to shoot you, right? Now you got a Riga looking at you as well.
That's right.
It's just, that's a very critical mistake, and you're losing a lot of, I'd say, unnecessary health here that you can use later to trade with your destroyer, the enemy destroyers.
You had the opportunity while you were concealed and waiting for those 20 seconds to actually turn your hull southward and get into a kite away position. That allows you to control the engagement. And in this situation, you actually want to be closer to the Iowa because then his secondaries are shooting you or the Iowa, not both. And he's focused on you or the Iowa, not both. In this case, you're off to the side. He can secondary focus you, and then he can go back to whatever the Iowa's doing and focus on doing the drive-by. Hello, NVA. I do like that you put your main battery load on to try to get him on a sticky fire. He's on 2 sticky fires, one from the Iowa, one from you. So you switch to the front. That's fine. So he's already planning on dying. You can tell he's looking at you. He wants to try to kill you and ram the Iowa. He's thinking 2 for 1 trade right here. You've already lost your 46 at the A-cap, ironically enough. All 3 enemy destroyers went to the A-cap. See, and now he's focusing on the Iowa because he's like, all right, now I need to set up for the ram. Say goodnight, killed him. That's kind of funny. Actually, the other Georgia killed him. But anyways.
I just don't like that trade at all. That's 8,000 health that you lost unnecessarily, I feel. If you'd stay behind the Iowa and just maximize your gun range, then that'd be fine. The problem is that all 3 of the enemy destroyers are still alive. You lost one of your destroyers. The battleship going down on your side of the map isn't on, the enemy battleship going down is problematic for the enemy team, but it's less problematic for them than you guys a destroyer going down on your side is for you. Now, yes, the Yugamo is very low health, and the Jaeger will probably gun him down. But there's also the matter of the Jutland and the Fletcher behind said Yugamo, which means you might end up losing your second destroyer in very short order.
Hi, Smile Crow, and hello, Wings. I paused it here because there's another thing. Riga went ahead and radared. He spotted you. You should be opening up on him immediately. There's no reason for you to kind of look around, maneuver. The Riga doesn't have a 6-second delay before he can shoot you. He sees you immediately because he's the one radaring you. And the Iowa is nowhere to be found, so that's not going to help. Now, you not shooting means that you stay concealed. Okay. Why do you care about that at this point? I look at it as if the Riga is focused on you, he's not looking at the Georgia and Iowa, which, frankly, are about to kill him. It's just a matter of time. You need him dead as soon as possible so you can get into the B cap, and more importantly, so you can also then reset. And by reset, I mean you can either go up into the north middle area, and don't torpedo, and deal with enemy destroyers that come up, or you can completely turn around and loop behind your battleships, which I wouldn't recommend. Riga's not even looking your way. This is when you can open up right now. His guns are looking the other way.
Yeah.
Shoota! Here you go.
I mean, I just don't like the fact that he chased the Riga. I would have just gone the other direction and worried about the destroyers.
Yeah, whatever. He chased, so that's fine. He DCP'd. Perfect. You use the reload booster, get him on sticky fires. Note that he probably would have been dead by now if you had opened up with while you were being radared. Honestly, I would have been shooting at him the whole time anyway. I don't care if he radars me. Look how far away you are from the B cap right now. I would be turning right into him at this point. I wouldn't be trying to go side kitey. He's about to die. Look, he died.
Enemy cruiser sunk.
So this is about efficiency. This is about efficiency of positioning and being in a way that you can then impact the battle after you do the thing that you're trying to do. So I want to kill the Riga. What's next, right? You got to be thinking about that. What's next? And I don't know that you thought about that. I thought it looks like you were like, kill Riga, kill Riga, kill Riga. Okay, Riga's dead. Now what? So, that's about 30 to 60 seconds missed. Will that impact this battle? Stay tuned. Let's find out. You've got an Iowa coming to B. You and the Iowa will meet at the B cap. The Yugi is dead. The Jutland is to the south in front of the enemy Iowa. You just don't know where the Fletcher is. He just torped your Iowa. So now you know where he is. You're going to run into him.
That's one of the...
Or did
this
he
is
come
one of
this
the
way?
other things that it's one of the things I wanted to comment on, actually, Seth. By going so far out trying to get side shots on that Riga, you've effectively zoned yourself out from the enemy destroyers, which means now they're free to wreak havoc so long as you are not in their general area. And now, obviously you're going to back cap B, which is good, but the problem is now the Jutland is capping C. Had you been a little bit closer to the Riga and had you gunned him down a little bit sooner, you could have turned back in a lot faster. You'd be able to jump that Fletcher a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And what that ends up meaning is that that's less downtime that's spent, away from the battle, and more uptime trying to actively zone out those enemy destroyers or hunt them down and kill them.
Now, I do like that you're in the cap and you're instinctively going into quite a way position, figuring the Fletcher will probably be coming to you this way. One little trick that I find works really well is have your torps armed right now. Have yourself in torp view, not gun view. Why? As soon as you see the Fletcher, you dump the torpedoes and switch to guns, and then you forget that you have torpedoes. So many destroyer players will have guns, they shoot their guns, and the first thing they do is they switch to torpedoes. That screws up their aim, that screws up the tempo of the engagement, and oftentimes allows them to have a disadvantage in taking more damage because of that. So I like to have my torpedoes ready to go first and be done. Shooting Ruger sooner, you would only have front guns. Yes, you would. Who cares? You're setting fires, you're killing the Riga. The Riga, again, has to deal with you or the battleships. Just get him down. The sooner you get him down, the better. Front guns are better than no guns. Plain and simple. You don't always have to have all 4 guns in an engagement. All right, let's see what happens here. So if you had torpedoes, I would be instinctively arming them for the channel, just ready to go. If you had radio location, that's an even better thing. Right now, you're kind of stuck. You have to wait. You've got engine boost coming up in 5 seconds, so that's nice.
The enemy is about to win.
Georgia has gone into his I will die here spot, which is really unfortunate because he's about to have a Jaeger up his side. You should be using your engine boost. I don't know why you're not.
Don't save your engine boost. You need to be moving pretty quickly.
Torpedoes just went by.
Yeah, that means the Fletcher's close.
Well, actually, I would say that's max range probably because it looked like it was pretty spread out and that was the end of their. So you can use the mini map. You can say, okay, Fletcher's torps are 10.5. So all right, this is 7.5 and this is maybe about 2 kilometers. So Fletcher is very close to his last node. He's about there. Hugging that island to ambush Jutland. Hugging over here, you mean? Yeah, you're used to saving for Shima, which is fine. But for me, it's like always, if you can boost, you're using it in a French destroyer, especially in this situation. Okay, you're spotted. You don't know where the enemy is. For you, you need to close the distance with the enemy destroyer as quickly as possible. That means boost. If you don't boost, you're giving the enemy destroyer an extra 1, 2, 3 seconds of reaction time. That allows them to change their orientation, kite away, slow down, and get ready to smoke. Torpedo in your general direction. All things that you really don't want to happen. So engine boosting here now is even more important now that you've been detected.
Engine boost activated.
There you go. Now you're looking to the right, frankly. I guess that since the Georgia's pushing through, which is very smart for the Georgia, here's the Jutland, as expected. I'd be looking over here. Oh, look, there he is. Do you know how I figured that out without even having radio location? It's very simple. Who does the Fletcher want to kill? Frankly, he wants to kill everybody, but right now, who's his biggest threat? Georgia. He's going to look to torp the Georgia while spotting you. And his torpedoes have already fired off over here. You saw them earlier. So he's probably waiting for the next torpedo salvo anyway. And as we see the Georgia coming through the channel, or I don't know, whichever way he was going, he's going to get ready for that. So the reason I'm saying all of this is because you have to try to think in your mind, where is the enemy going to be? What are they trying to do? They see you. And they see the Georgia. They could luck chuck you, or they could luck chuck the Georgia. They could luck chuck both of you, frankly. And engine boost before being spotted would let you close 2 seconds faster. That's true. You would be about here and spotting the Fletcher before, maybe about the exact same time as the Georgia, or maybe before the Georgia does. Anyway, let's continue. There you go, Vermont. All right, sounds good. That will be on Sunday's stream.
Actually, Zath, one more thing that I actually wanted to mention is that if you're in this kind of situation where it's coming down to the end of the match, the best thing to do is look at, last known location, right? Mm-hmm. Because how far is a Fletcher going to go if his goal is to torpedo the big dumb battleship pushing through the gap, right? Mm-hmm. There's only so many places he will actually end up going, per se.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, fortunately, the Georgia player was with you. You shot at him, and you didn't keep shooting. I would say, with that Fletcher, with that position, with that hit point pool, you just keep shooting. French ships have what we call French radar, which means you shoot at something in the smoke. As soon as you see the explosion, you keep shooting in that general area, and then that's when you use a reload boost. You spot the enemy by literally just shooting them as much as you can. Eventually they die. All right, well, anyways, now you're up on starting Stream Raiders. You're up on points, you're up on caps. This is the part where a lot of people don't know what to do. Now, you could go to the C cap. If you do that, you put yourself at risk of dying to Jutland's luck chuck torpedoes, or, you know, he smokes and hydros you, or all kinds of problems. Okay? I don't like the idea of moving south to sea here. I would feel that you have much more of an impact chilling, frankly, with your Georgia. I mean, you can be about here where you're on the map, but I'd be angling north here. And the reason for that is if you get spotted by the Jutland, then you know the Jutland is about here and came through the channel. Okay? He could also be here coming through the channel. The point is, the farther go to sea, the farther away you are from your friend. Yes, the Iowa is going to be, so that means he fights against the Jutland at most. The Jutland is, from last spotted, full health. And that's problematic for you. To me,
Yeah,
in ranked, I'd go for the 2v1. You know the Iowa is setting that way. You don't know where the Jutland is going. Go with the Georgia, kill him.
Actually, I should note one thing, though, Zap. The Georgia, as of the moment, is undetected.
Yep.
Which means that the Jutland is operating near sea, but he doesn't precisely know. He probably knows where the Georgia's heading just based off the last note. But he doesn't know precisely where Electric is going to go, because Electric has two options in this situation. He can either go to C or he can go to B. And the Jutland, if I had to guess, is working off the assumption. Well, now he's not going to be working off the assumption that Electric is going to be to kill the Iowa, because he's just gotten an RPF lock on him, which means the Jutland knows he's coming.
Right. Now, I put on the map here kind of where I would think the Jutland is, probably behind one of these islands. In a moment, that might change. So the thing is, and I see so many ranked players do this, when you're at the end of the game and you've got the point advantage and you've got the cap advantage and you are close on ships, the absolute worst thing you can do is leave your teammate so that you turn any situation into a 2v1. You haven't seen the Iowa in a while. What's preventing the Iowa from turning around and running into you down here right next to the Jutland? Boom, 2v1, you die. Georgia's like, what the F? Okay? So, to me, at this stage in this battle, I would be looking at how can I ensure that I am able to win in a fight that happens. And oh my god, we just have a raid coming in. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Daniel Rusev, for the raid. I hope you had a great stream, as always. We are doing some replay analysis right now, so welcome on in, raiders. Mogador could take the fight with the Jutland, but the problem I have is I don't like the feeling of I'm gonna leave my George. And look, the George is even realizing this, and he's turning south now. Okay, there's the Iowa. Hey, Dr. Schatz. You just came off radio location. That should immediately tell you that the Jutland is closer to the Georgia than he is to you, which means the Jutland is heading northward as well. So now, if your Georgia keeps heading north, he's smart and he's not doing it, but if he kept on heading north, which we see so many people do in ranked, he runs into a 2v1. The Iowa and the Jutland take him down. Fortunately for you, that Georgia player is like, nah, I want to win. And so he's going to stop. He recognizes that he is in the driver's seat, so to speak, and he's going to be able to do what he wants. Those of you guys that rated in, we do have a giveaway going. Please type ! ticket to get into the giveaway. You do have to click the follow button if you're not following, because we are follow-only chat here, because winners have to be followers. Okay, Jutland went to the B cap. That's fine. So it actually works out well that you're going to be grabbing this cap for free.
Stop. Stop the ship. Stop the ship. Stop the ship.
Yeah, because you're about to get out of the cap.
Exactly. Yeah, just stop the ship. Cap.
That's the hard part.
I made that mistake.
Hard part about playing Mogador is you're so darn fast. Now you are better off, frankly. I'm gonna nitpick this because we can. Frankly, when you know the Jutland is over here, you know the Iowa's here, you have no chance of being shot at, and therefore spotted. Slow down earlier into the sea cap so that you can come out of the sea cap at faster speed if you really wanted to get somewhere quicker. And it's kind of like coming out of a turn in a race, right? You want to set up your line so that when you come out, you can accelerate sooner, you can be faster. Now, you don't have a reason to move past this line, by the way.
Victory is in sight.
You don't have a reason at all. Iowa, what's the Iowa going to do? He's going to move forward, probably. Jutland's probably going to move forward. You guys are probably going to win on one cap anyway. I don't know that there's a need for you to go and poke your face out and try to spot people.
Deactivated.
This is a very dangerous game of cat and mouse here. You're gambling on the Iowa still being there, which he probably is. But
Probably is. Wait for the Georgia
if you
to
are
come up.
gambling on that, but he's not there. But if you were gambling on that, what I would have done is just have your torpedoes ready to go there, and then you could immediately turn away and then switch to guns. Oh, you're spotted. There's the Iowa. Oh, he
And
is
he
there.
didn't shoot. I'm surprised he didn't shoot there. I would have absolutely shot. You went to torps to see which way he was going, realized your torps aren't going to make it, and you're like, that's okay. I'll get him later. By the way, right now, you probably need to be plowing into this island right here. Plowing into this island. Why? You've been spotted. You're located. What's the Jutland going to do? He's going to turn around and get ready to assassinate you right when you come out of this corner. Crash the island here. You're going to throw off his torpedoes, which are most likely coming for you right now through this channel. This is the perfectly calculated throw. Yes, yes. Let's find out what happens. You're focusing on the
Hope the
battleship
Iowa's
that you
not
can
looking.
see.
Just torp the. I don't know. I would have saved my torpedoes for the Jutland just in case, but that's a okay move as well.
You're very fortunate that the Jutland was farther forward. He wasn't able to turn around in time to deal with you. Reload boosting now is fine, but you got to be turning your ship. You got to be turning away.
Problem solved,
Now, you're
sir.
advancing on his position. Remember, he's got Hydro, so he gets to spot you.
Battle ends in
Oh, nope, he left the smoke anyway. Well, that's cute. This is absolutely not a necessary engagement. You could be kiting away here and living. Georgia saves you.
Oh, saved by the Georgia. All right.
If you don't
I'd
want
be
to use
close.
mods, that's fine. But score timer definitely would tell you you're going to win on time, which would inform whether or not you want to be so aggressive and possibly shot at. And the Albacore Museum, Wolfie, sounds awesome. Mechanic? Now that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. How the hell are you?
At this point, what I would do is do what the Georgia's doing and run. Right? You have two caps. Game's going to be over soon,
The corner.
based on score timer. Runs the corner. I was not going to have time to get to see.
I mean, look,
And-
even if you don't have score timer, there's 4 minutes left. Well, I mean, there's 4 minutes left in the game. Iowa's got no chance in hell. Don't give him the chance by shooting at him getting spotted. So yeah, just go to the corner. Finding some time to ships, fair enough. Mods do break with patches, that's true. So it's difficult usually the day of the patch, but Aslane is usually really good about getting patches out, or mods out after patches, like the day of even. So it's not as big of a deal. Anyway, let's take a look at the results. You came in second place. I hope you comped that Georgia, because that Georgia did a fantastic job there. Well, yeah, Wolfie, but most of the time the mods, it's literally just changing the install folder, like the series of numbers in the bin folder, and that's all you have to do. So Aslane is usually pretty quick about doing that. And then after that, people find out. So like the mod version 00 is usually where they find mods that are broken, and then some mods just don't work. Oh yeah, throw Aslane $1 or 2 in gratitude. Absolutely. So anyway, Riga, Georgia, Jutland. God, I feel like it was ages ago that we were talking about the fight on the Riga. You don't remember if you complimented him? So I always this is just a side note. When I play ranked, I always compliment the people that did better than me. Why? Because they help me get a star. Like if I win, they help me get a star, I compliment them. Just something I do. It spreads good cheer and it makes me feel good about things. On the flip side, Um, you know, we'll do that. SF, no, I'm doing your replay. I'm doing your replay. Don't worry about it. So anyways, let's go ahead and pull up the replay render tool. And let's change the replay render to the right video first.
Hello there.
Ay. Hey, Big O.
Hey, Zed. Hey, Shot.
Hello.
You only had 980k spotting damage. Oh, because of your spotting yesterday? Fair enough. And this one you had 600, no, 0.2000. You had 674,000 potential damage. So yeah, early on, go to the C cap. We kind of discussed why going A would probably be a better use of your time. In Mogador specifically, and with this setup. Look, the enemy destroyer that Fletcher's even smoking to let you know that he's heading that way. That's cute. Georgia decides he just wants to die. That was very nice of the enemy Georgia to do that. You had the opportunity to go into a kite away position, turning south. You didn't take that. And now you've got the opportunity to go and chase and do the damage on the Riga. While he knows there's an Iowa and Georgia crawling up his bum, so I would absolutely be shooting him here. Side note, I'm looking at the minimap now. He's going behind the island. I actually probably would have gone in front of this island. Not only just to keep my guns on target, but also to be closer to him because, frankly, the sooner he dies, the sooner you go into B. And especially when we found out at the end his guns were turned the other direction, that there's really no competition.
I'll say this though, I don't really have a problem with the decision making at all. I mean, if you want to chase a few things, sure.
Yeah.
My problem is, my only complaint, and this is a big one, is engagement, conducting your engagements, right? And this is something that I noted I wanted to know actually with the last replay with the MOAR saw, is that when you're engaging a destroyer, you don't vary your speed and you don't vary your rudder at all. You make it a little bit easy for your opponent to fight you.
Yep.
Simply by virtue of more or less going in a straight line.
Yep.
By adjusting your speed and adjusting your rudder, you throw off shots, and it makes it easier for you to win the engagement because the average destroyer player takes a pretty long time to we'll take it like maybe 2 or 3 salvos to adjust their aim, right?
Yep.
Obviously, if it's a good destroyer player, they're going to adjust their aim a lot faster. So there's no assumptions about that whatsoever. But if you're playing against the average destroyer player, just chop your throttle, turn out, and then accelerate again. They're going to throw off his aim pretty badly, right? And of course,
Yep.
Just choosing to engage with the Georgia by kind of running at him head on, or like just going parallel to him and then turning out when he gets detected. That also does not work because of the fact that, you're entirely reliant on him not focusing on you, right? So if turning away and just kiting him and then burning him to death, you would have saved a lot of health, and you would have saved a lot of health to trade, right, later with that Jutland. And in that engagement with the Jutland as well, he was going straight line. I would have saved my reload boost for when he leaves the smoke. You save the torpedoes, use them on the smoke, force him out, and then just reload boost him because he's vulnerable, right?
So this is one thing that a lot of advanced players will do, and this is not shaming by any means Electric or anybody else. This is just saying, hey, this is something to think about. So here's the engagement with the Riga. I zoomed into this part because this is what we were talking about earlier, okay? Now, you have all the time in the world to fire your guns at the Riga. You're choosing not to because you want to go dark when the radar is over. If you want to go dark when the radar is over, you actually have the ability to fire 1 salvo of guns and go dark at the same time because the radar lasts about the same as 20 seconds. So if you wanted to stay concealed, just fire your guns once. Why? If you start a fire, he either has to choose to let it burn or DCP. If he DCPs, then you engine boost and get him on fire, or reload boost and get him on fire. If he doesn't let it burn. Cool. You're dark. You don't care. Have fun, buddy. So you had the opportunity to shoot. Right here, you're not looking at his guns. This is the advanced tactic I'm talking about, Electric. You're not looking at his guns. You're not looking at his guns. You're looking at your positioning. You're moving. I'd be zooming in. Look at those guns. Look at those guns right there. Those came from his rear turret. Where are his front guns turned? That's an important thing to figure out. If he's in the process of flipping his guns, guess what? You can actually shoot him right now for free. He just fired his rear guns. He's about to get behind the island. Zoom in. What are his guns doing? Matter of fact, I have the ability. We're going to fly over there because we can. And actually, I'll zoom in too because it just saves some time. His guns are in the process of rotating. His guns are in the process of rotating because he's given up on you. This is the perfect time to shoot him. Because then what is he going to do? Oh, there's the destroyer again. He's going to put his guns back on you again. And then you're going to go behind the island. And that's less guns on your Georgia or Johann de Whale. Or if he ignores you completely, you come out from around that island and you look at his guns again. Where are they turning? Oh, they're away from me? Let's have some fun, baby. So, look at what those guns are looking at. So huge. Right here is another chance. So that's 2 chances to get a little bit of chip damage in. Yes, I realize you're worried. He's got a lot of HP, but he's got an Iowa and a Georgia literally crawling up his rear. Trust me, you are not his main concern. Okay? And he's going to disappear pretty quick once those battleships start connecting. But if you can get him to focus on you, or you can take advantage of the fact, look right here. I commented this on the replay. Look at his guns. They are 100%, 180 degree looking away from you. This is when you open up. Great targets. And you're going to in a few seconds.
Yeah, it's also like, he's relatively broadside to you. Armor piercing. Like, don't just, like, yeah, get fires, obviously, but armor piercing rounds if he goes broadside to you, right?
You could do that too. Absolutely. I'm of the mindset that I don't want to think as much in this game, and frankly, yes, thinking, switching to AP is the thinking man's action game part of this replay. You could do that. Absolutely, that's a fair statement. But at the very least, open up, get him on fire, do the things.
My biggest gripe is that you drew yourself so far out when fighting the Riga because you thought he would turn his guns to you, which is fair, but Riga has a pretty long turret traverse time. Yeah, actually, a very long turret traverse time. I think it's about 30, it's 30 seconds. But by that time, if you see that his guns are rotating, you can easily flip away and then just... he'd probably be dead by the time he flips his guns around, right? So you didn't necessarily need to draw yourself out that far.
I'm going to teach you another technique right here. This is something that the Unicoms don't want you to know about. When you get into this kind of engagement right here with the Jutland, immediately slow down and turn out. You don't play Riga or any cruisers much, so you don't know turret traverse times. Dude, it's a cruiser. It's going to take a while. And it's a heavy cruiser. It's going to take more than a while. Think of it this way. A light cruiser, faster turret traverse. A heavy cruiser, longer turret traverse. And even if he's turning his turrets back on you, guess what? He's not focusing other things. If you're about to go behind an island, whatever. You can absolutely play games with him that way. Okay, anyway, this engagement right here. Again, this is where mods is so helpful because it tells you your orientation in relation to the enemy ship. Now, if you want to be a purist and look at this and then look at the compass that's usually down the bottom left corner to decide, you can do that, of course. It's in the game files already. But the mod makes it front and center and easier for you to see. And that's why when I see people say, no, I don't use mods, if it's because you're saying, I want to fight fair, why? What's guaranteeing that this guy is not using mods? If he's using mods and you're not, you're at a disadvantage in general cases. Side note. Anyway, slow down, turn out right here. If you slow down and turn out, especially with the fact that you've got the turret traverse mod in slot 3, your guns will keep up. Your guns will track just fine. When you slow down and turn, his shells coming after you miss. Because most of the time, when people are shooting at you, they're expecting you to keep going straight. So if you slow down and turn out, most of the time, those shells will miss. I do this all the time against cruisers at max range or medium range, battleships, while I'm in a cruiser. This technique, this standard kind of reaction comes in very handy. okay? And then you can turn out, you can dodge a lot of the incoming fire and that sort of thing. Instead, you're going straight here. Now, honestly, if the problem is that you just don't have the capacity to think about that while you're fighting, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's all sorts of people who play the game. I don't know your current situation. I know of one person that plays left-handed and they're missing 2 fingers. So they have a bit of a handicap. It's fine. They play according to what works for them. You live in hope. So, honestly, find what works for you. But in that particular engagement, slowing down and turning out would have been a better choice, in my opinion. Also, if the enemy destroyer luck chuck torpedoes at you, they're going to fire them on the white line because they don't have time to think about what you're going to do and how you're going to react. They're going to fire them on the white line and go back to guns. You slow down and turn out, guess what? All those torps, beep, 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 go right past you, and you dodge them. Going straight is what gets you killed. Consumables monitor is very
helpful. I think one of the big things to remember as well is that at this kind of closer ranges, like under 4 or 5 kilometers, the ballistic advantage doesn't matter as much. In fact, it's almost negligible.
Yep.
Simply because of the fact that travel time for shells is going to be relatively similar across certain. It's only like past 7-8 kilometers that you start to notice a drop off, right?
So electric. Hey Joker, electric. It really depends. Slowing down, turning in a torp boat. Now that's different. That's very different. You can do that for the initial salvo, initial shot, but beyond that, it's difficult. And you don't slow down to like complete 0 in that case. In this case, you're in a 1v1 against somebody else. Everything else is there's all these different situations where something that we're suggesting doesn't work. We're saying in this particular situation, this is a really good opportunity. This is a really good option for you to win in that initial engagement. Throw off the aim of enemies, that sort of deal. Okay? So, there you go.
Yeah. What I actually like to do is if I'm getting into a one-on-one engagement and I'm coming out from around rounds, I actually cut power to half, right? When they pop up, they're going to shoot you, anticipating that you're going to be going half or 3/4. The moment they pop up, just cut your throttle. The first shot's going to overshoot, and then the second shot is going to probably land a bit closer, and then just increase your speed. They're going to aim anticipating that you're stopping, and you'll throw off at least 2 or 3 salvos at around 5 kilometers. Right? It's kind of it's a little more advanced, but the simple thing to do is turn out and like kite out from the enemy destroyer if you engage, because that means you can take advantage of your ballistics, you can take advantage of your speed. Don't just go in a straight line, right? Because if you go in a straight line, the enemy does not have to adjust accordingly. They only need one firing solution to actually hit you. They don't need to adjust.
It's very ship specific. The Mogador excels at medium to long range. Kite only using rear guns or all guns. All guns. You can turn out. You're gonna force me to start this over again. That's okay. You can turn out and still have all of your guns pointed at the enemy target. The only reason to turn so far that you're only using your 2 rear turrets is in the event that you're dodging torpedoes. But if you're already kiting out, torps are easier to dodge too. So that's why kiting out is such a useful skill to get in the habit of doing with any destroyer, frankly, but especially these French destroyers. You instinctively get into that position where you're kiting away. That allows you to control that engagement. And the same procedure is true for a cruiser like an Henri or something like that, where you want to be in a kiting away position. It's almost always better to be kiting away in just about any cruiser out there than bow in, pointing at a target. Ironically enough, the same holds true for battleships too. I know, isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's shocking. There's 3 things to always consider in an engagement. Engagement distance, engagement time, and engagement speed, right? When do you engage? At what distance do you engage? And how fast do you engage? Do you be patient with your engagements, or do you go guns blazing and you just bore in, right? With the Jolland engagements, you need to open the distance, right? Because the Jolland does very well at close ranges with its guns. simply because of the fact that it has a good rate of fire, but it's 120, it's British 113s. They have relatively poor ballistic drop off past a certain range. You're a Mogador.
yeah.
Your guns have much higher velocity and much better ballistics. So
Okay.
you need to open that engagement distance and force him to come towards you in order for you to maximize your engagement window or optimal engagement window.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, you expected him to stay in your smoke, so you reload boosted. That's fine. I don't have a problem with you using reload boost. I know. Shockwave mentioned that earlier. If he's smoking right now, it's easy for you to say, okay, he's probably going to stop. Why is my... Oh, okay. All this stuff is going to be on the screen, but I want to be able to draw. So, if he's smoking, you're figuring he's going to slow down. That makes him an easier target for your reload boost. You absolutely might as well do that. Take your Shockwave. Thanks for bringing your opinions in here.
No problem. Have a good one.
The concern I have about you charging him here is it's a British destroyer. British destroyers have personal defense hydro out to 3 kilometer. You will assured spot him at 2 kilometer, which means that if you charge him, you're going through 1 kilometer of distance where he can see you and shoot at you, and you don't know where he is. So you did remember it, so you did turn. Fair. Look at the score. Look at the situation. He's got to kill you. If he's going to sit and smoke, more power to him. Have fun, buddy. Right? There's no way he's going to kill you if he's in his smoke. Ride it out. Sit there. What's it matter? Right? So, all right, let's clear this canvas. Let's go a little bit higher up. This is as high as I can go. Okay. So, look at your engagement. Look at his orientation. He's heading this way, you're heading this way, right? What I would do is instinctively turn like this. Okay? Remember, he's here. Don't worry about this. I don't know what this is. Anyway, he's here. So what you want to do is you want to angle to the point where you can get all 4 of your guns on his position. Turn out and slow down. Hell, you could even start reversing if he's in smoke and you're not detected. You could even start reversing. That's perfectly fine. Okay. But that parallel, at least. Honestly, I don't like parallel. The reason for that is these are gun lines. Now imagine they're torpedo lines. If you're parallel, guess what? You're giving him complete 100% the widest target to hit with torpedoes. Which you really don't want right now. You're quite low on hit points. So that's another reason why you want to turn like this. If he fires torpedoes at you, look how much narrower of a profile you provide those torpedoes if you're kiting away. It's going to help you dodge torpedoes. And it's going to put you in a position to just pounce on him when he comes out of that smoke. If the smoke expires or he leaves the smoke, you can nail him. Again, looking at the timing. Have fun, buddy. Smoke up all you want. Put the barbecue on. You know what? Throw a beer in there for me. I'll come get it in a little bit. Do you care? Right? So, let the enemy decide how he wants to die. You kind of didn't do that. You came in and you're going to go like this, and then you're going to do like this. He's going to come out, and he's going to be sideways to you. So, the nice thing about moving is he's probably not worried about there. Where should you be notified about your birthday coupon? Email, I think, profile. So if he does torpedo you, guess what? You're probably gonna he'd have to see you to do that, and he's gonna go dark here. You're gonna kind of go dark, I think, here. So he's probably not torpedoing you there, but still, you're giving him the opportunity to torp you by doing this, Electric. Okay. So we're gonna continue on the battle now and see how it unfolds. See how you're continuing to go this way. Nope. Now you're gonna turn in.
Problem solved, sir.
And then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, he's got 3 kilometer hydro.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
There's his torpedoes. There you go, turning out.
Engine boost activated.
Okay, something else I noticed. You just used your engine boost and your engines are broken, so that really doesn't help much. Now, right here, this kind of attitude is what you want to be in the engagement right off the bat. So instead of turning out and being like here, you went up and then out. So, there you go. I feel like we've beat this one to a dead horse, but there were so many good opportunities to discuss stuff here that I think it was worthwhile going into. Electric, do you have any other questions? Engine boost to move fast. Yeah, I mean, it does still help. It's just not going to get you the kind of engine boost you're hoping for, but, you know, every little bit can help, yes. Get Stream Raiders going. I think we beat this one to dead horse. I think I'm going to call this one controlling engagements, or choosing your engagement or something like that is fine. But Electric, this was a fantastic replay to get into. Yeah, absolutely. Remember, guys, you're going to have a vote at the end of this. You can choose which replays you felt were the most meaningful, most educational for you. This might be one of them. You probably didn't look at score that much. I mean, there's a lot of things to keep in mind, and that's why I said, you know, this is no stress. This is no judgment when I'm saying, hey, there's a lot that you have to keep in mind. You might not be concentrating on all of those things at once. I mean, frankly, that's part of why I just shoot HE, and I don't think about things like, oh, broadside cruiser, let's switch to AEP, like what Shockwave mentioned. You can do that. I just don't have the brain power to put into that. There's so many other things I'm usually thinking about